Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. Hugh here, the Builder's Office, bringing you another episode of a podcast that is specifically for homeowners. So someone like you that is looking to finish or start or just do anything with their home, but they want their best experience. And this is a place to get some good advice to be able to help you get through it. So here we are on episode number 31. Now, I started writing up all the synopsis and the run sheet for what I really wanted to go through today, and I was getting through it and I'm like, today's one of those days that while I couldn't go outside and go for a walk to record this, it was something that needed to be talked about. And I've been talking a little bit about green flags, red flags when it comes to building and when it comes to your decision on which way you want to go. And one of the things that really stood out, and a lot of people wouldn't necessarily be thinking about this when they start getting through all the ideas for a building project, and it's really going to determine a green flag versus a red flag on when you're choosing a builder. If you're going down the road of choosing a builder, of course, because there are still a lot of people out there that go down the owner-builders route. And look, there's no two ways about it. Oh, well, sorry. There are two ways about it. There's the one where you can go down going with a builder, and then there's the owner-builder, and really comes down to what is going to be best for you. And when making that decision, you've really got to know if a builder is going to be the right choice. And then, of course, choosing that builder, you need some items that you can tick off a list that tell you whether they're going to be a good choice or a bad choice. So, looking at this, there are three things that a builder, I feel, should do from the first time that you actually speak to them. So, we're going to go through a couple of those green flags, couple of the checklist items, and I'm going to go through three because I believe that these three are going to be the ones that determine whether they've got a good set of principles and good set of processes that are going to be able to ensure that you get the best out of your building project. So, probably going to be a little bit of a hot topic, and yes, I have my list of stuff, and it's going to take a little bit to get through it, but I'll try to get through it as quick as I can because I want this to be short, punchy, and as informative as possible to be able to get you what you want. So, hot topic because how many people / builders actually have a clear, defined path for leads, clients to go through when they're engaging them? And this is one of those things that it's going to be like top of the list on knowing if you're going to actually find and be able to speak to a reputable builder. So I was reading a report, and sorry for the ums and ahs, I'm not trying to do that. It just comes out sometimes, and because I might just have some dot points, some of the information is coming out, and this is one of the things that I really like about doing this podcast is being able to give you that fresh, straight up information as quick as I can. So I was reading this report in the last few days, and that went through a few of these things. And the report was based on, I think it was something maybe a couple of thousand builders entered information into this report, and it was all compiled and then sent out to a lot of people. So it wasn't through your typical HIA, MBA, or anything like that. So it's a little bit independent. Now, whether this is a true reflection of things, yeah, I'd say that it's probably pretty close. But the stats were a bit worrying to me, and yeah, this is where one of the first stats that came out of it was 50% of residential builders don't have a documented sales process or don't have a sales process at all. That's a worry when you consider that one of the largest investments, and I'm going to call it an investment because at the end of the day, We don't buy a house, we don't build a house, we don't do anything, just the same as a marriage, without investing a lot of time, effort, and resource, love, all that sort of thing into it to be able to get what we want. So if you're investing in a building project, any kind of like that, anything like that in your home, well, considering that if that stat's accurate and 50% of builders don't have a process to be able to be bringing you into what's going to be a huge investment for you, that's a worrying thing. So let's go through this, all right? And 3 things that I believe are going to determine whether you want to work with a builder or not. And these things, you can't skip past it. You cannot skip past this, all right? So how to be able to determine if you're being taken through a sales process or not. And yeah, so number 1, straight away, you'll be asked for more than just your name and number. How many times have you called up somebody or looking to engage someone and all you're getting is, oh, we'll just take your name and number and we'll get back to you and never hear from them again. Very common thing with trades, as we know. So if you're being asked from that first moment for more than just your name, number, and a few basic things, even to a point of, I'm going to give you a call back in 24 hours, or if you leave a message on their phone and they actually say that they're going to give you a call back in 24 hours or within that time, that is a massive positive. But if they're just asking for a name and number, and the likelihood is that you're probably not going to hear from them again unless they do have something in place. And probably a little bit of this is going to go on, and this is probably one thing that you should be taking as a positive. You'll be pointed towards a form to complete and submit. Now that may be a questionnaire, it may be a details page on a website or something like that is going to be formed just for them, and it's going to go through a lot of questions. And those questions should be detailed into finding out who you are and what you're going to be doing, what you'd like to do, and there may be a few other tricky questions in there, which I'll get into a little bit later, possibly not in this episode, but yeah, it'll come in later. From there, you will be receiving an email or text confirmations for all contacts. So that should be something that you definitely should be getting. If you're not getting that, not getting those texts or emails or anything like that to confirm that you've made contact, then clearly they don't have anything documented and they don't have any processes for moving you through to get all the critical information that's going to be needed to be able to help you. Apologise for that. Should have turned my phone onto silent, which I didn't do. Whoops. Apologies. And you should also receive what some will call a builder package. And that'll go through a lot of the information about who the builder is, what kind of company they are, and one of the big things is going to be possibly a form that shows you the documented process in which they work to get you through to, say, contract stage or through the building process, through the whole process right through to completing your project and handing it over. So that would be something that you should be looking out for. And for me, I know that we send out a pack that shows who we are, all that sort of thing, and where you can go from there. So that's just getting in touch with them. Before you even even meet them or anything like that, you should be getting a feeling like you're getting contact with them. They are, when they say they're going to do something, they're going to be doing it, and they're going to be able to do it quick. And so they've thought about the sales process and how you coming into the business, what that means to you. And what that means to you is that you should be getting a good feeling, not this, we don't know if they're actually going to contact us. So that should be right there. That's a tick if they're doing that sort of thing. Second up to the initial contact is going to be how the builder manages the first meeting with you. So what's that first meeting going to look like? A good start will be how the call goes with setting up the meeting. Now, it can go a few different ways. So they can call you and say, oh, look, we think that from the information that you've supplied to us at the moment, that you'd be a good fit to work with us. Or it could go a different direction of asking you a few more questions. And then at the end of that call, there might be, look, we'd like to set up a meeting with you. And depending on the size of the project, we'd like to set up either an on-site meeting or an office meeting with you. These sorts of things can really go out to tell you which way, and they've thought about their process and they know that they've got a defined way of doing it. So they'll be setting up a meeting with you and they'll be letting you know what's going to happen in that meeting and possibly even tell you what the agenda of the meeting is. Now, an agenda, just the same as any other process, is going to be going through possibly a little presentation with you on how their process works and talking a little bit more in depth about who they are and how they're going to be able to help you and how the process would move forward from there. So that's something that you'd really want to get through. One thing that this is going to sort of go into two parts here as well is not balking at the idea of a consultancy fee to begin with, just to have an on-site meeting, because you've got one meeting that's going to be sitting down with you, possibly in an office or a cafe, depending on what's going on, without it being at your house or on site or anything like that. It's going to be a case where they're going to be talking to you about your project, whether you can work together, all that sort of thing, and that might go for an hour or two. Now, with an on-site meeting, don't balk at the possibility of a fee for consultancy, because if we're meeting on site, generally it's a smaller project and it'll be quite possibly a on-site meeting looking at your house and giving you ideas, because you might be at the start of the process, and this is when that consultancy fee really comes into it, is because you may not have plans, you may not have all the engineering, you may not have all the documentation to be able to start the project. So that's where you're really engaging somebody as a consultant early on to talk through the project and to find out what's going on. And you're going to be getting some valuable advice in there. And look, at the end of the day, we know that advice doesn't come for free. So you're basing all of this on somebody's experience and their wealth of knowledge. That sort of thing, most builders know that costs time, effort, and all that sort of thing. So you are more than likely going to be asked for a fee for that. And don't balk at it, because at the end of the day, if they're asking for a fee, they know the value of the service that they're providing. And they should also be able to demonstrate the value in that. And they would have done that in the previous phone calls and the initial contacts. So that's where some of those contact key points, if they're ticking that off, they're showing the value to you. And just remember, it is work for them as well. So work time, it does cost. And look, the value in there, you wouldn't go to work for free. Please don't balk at the thought of paying somebody to come and talk to you about something that is their work. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants to go to work for free. And going to work for free, you end up with people coming home and doing stuff around at home that is going to be probably subpar, less than good, I guess you could say. So the third thing, and this is where the previous stuff is really going to come into it, is there will be more than likely a fee for a proposal. And if you're going through a preliminary process with a preliminary agreement with someone, you'll probably find that in there is a proposal fee for preparing what the costs are going to be. Because look, at the end of the day, we know that if you go to an architect or a draftsperson, if they're trying to find out the cost, they'll be going to a builder, and that builder will probably charge them a fee to prepare a proposal for them. Then, of course, there's other people, so quantity surveyors, quantity estimators, estimating companies, and they charge a fee, and those fees can be anywhere from, depending on the size of the project, from sort of $300, $400 all the way through to a couple of $1,000. So those sorts of fees can come into it because these guys don't work for nothing. So Yeah, it's one of those things that's going to come into it is if you're being asked a fee for preparing a quote for you, don't balk at it. It's probably going to be a green flag. At least you know that they're going to be professional about how they go about it. So choosing somebody based on whether they do it for free, do a free quote or not, might be a tipping point for a lot of people. And I know that it is. I've seen it a lot. And one of the things that comes out of the differences between someone that charges a fee for a proposal and someone that doesn't is the guys not charging a fee for proposal clearly don't know the costs for doing their job and haven't taken the time to develop a smooth process that delivers everything for leads, clients, and you. And really, at the end of the day, this is about you. That fee for a proposal isn't necessarily going to be reflective of what the actual cost is to prepare that quote. And I know that I've been through it a number of times, and a lot of the times it doesn't stack up. And you are getting a lot of value in the fee for the proposal as well. So don't balk at the idea of it. It is, to me, it's a massive tick that somebody has taken the time to work out their sales process, and they have gone through things, and they have worked out that, hey, look, for us to be able to deliver this and to be able to deliver it to you on a daily basis, we have to charge a fee. And that's a massive tick. And if you are being asked for that, don't be scared by it. Free quotes are becoming a thing of the past because in today's modern society, it doesn't work. So to me, it's a really good thing. It's a green flag. If you're being asked for that, don't hesitate at it and find out a little bit more information about it as well. Ask them why they're doing it. You can ask these questions. Don't be afraid to ask a question while you're going through all that, the initial contacts with builders or whoever it may be, because you're going to be able to get really down to the crux of the information of what is the best thing for you. So there we go. 3 things that I believe are green flags when you're first contacting a builder and how it's going to help you choose the right path for you and the right person for you. So thank you for joining me. My name's Hugh. You can get in contact with me through any of the social media platforms and down underneath this podcast, you can add a comment if you want to, depending on what platform you're listening or watching this on. And all of our contact details are down in there as well. But I'd really like you, if you do have any comments on this, chuck them in wherever they may be. Send us an email, jump onto social media, Instagram, and get in contact with me through there. I'd love to hear your comments about this. This, I feel, could be a really good starting point for everybody, and I hope that everybody enjoys it. But my name's Hugh. Again, this is the Builder's Office, the podcast just for you. Thank you very much. Have a good one.